What's up, everybody? This is The Real Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Real. I'm a music producer. I make beats as Be Real Beats. And this is our first episode on our show. It's my first ever recorded podcast, and I'm excited for our guest today. We're blessed to have my good friend, up-and-coming artist, and Georgetown basketball legend, Devontae Smith Rivera, also known as DSR. What's good, bro?
What's going on, man?
How you living?
I'm all right, bro. Good morning, man. Happy to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. It's a beautiful day outside.
It is. I'm more focused on the people walking by than being here.
Yeah, it's crazy that they can hear us out there.
Right.
So what you been up to, bro?
Nothing much, man. Just producing, man. Creating more music. Stepping back into the basketball world. We're
gonna get into that.
Man. I knew you was gonna bring that up too. But yeah, man. Just grinding, bro. Grinding it out. Making more music with you, of course, and happy to be here, man.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about that. Making music with me.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Wyatt earlier the story about just kind of how we met and stuff, and I think there's a lot of value in that for the people listening. As me as a producer and you as an artist, we're probably gonna have other artists and producers listening to this podcast,
Right.
and I want to give value to those people too. So let's. I want to hear about it from your perspective. I kind of know the
Right.
story already, but let other
Right.
people know like how we came to meet, and
Right.
then how our relationship has been built since then.
Yeah. So one of my good friends, Sam, over at Top View, CEO, founder of Top View, he's doing a hell of a job. He came to a studio session. I remember you came in and he's like, yeah, my boy's working on producing beats and
Green,
trying to get into the music business basically. And I'm like, yeah, well, let me hear something and see what we can do. And at that time I was new to the game as well, and kind of fresh into my career as an artist. But from there, I knew the beats were fire. I knew you had that hunger to get better. I don't know
if they were fire.
At
that time.
They're all on the first EP.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So if they're valuable and they go into a project like that, which is Pregame, if you guys haven't downloaded that or streamed that, the first EP is called Pregame. It's DSR. It's on all platforms. If you guys want to go check that out, please do. The beats are fire. The lyrics, the delivery, everything is has great structure and concept, which we both came up with in making the project come to life. But yeah, man, it was I appreciate Sam for making it happen, because now it's effortless for us.
Absolutely. I think it's funny too, like how we weren't even going there we didn't even know about each other.
Yeah.
I think we were there to meet with another producer, me to get some mentorship, and you to you had this idea for your project, and you wanted to get some beats or make some music. And for whatever reason, bro just didn't show, so we were just like kind of chopping it up.
That's
on
crazy
the couch.
how life works, right?
Yeah.
And so the producer I was going to meet at the time, he didn't show up. And no bad blood because of the situation that we have now. And blessings come in disguise, man, because right place, right time. So
yeah, no, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. So I introduced you as a Georgetown basketball legend. Funny thing, I knew you for months before Kevin even told me that you played for Georgetown. Or we're known big over there. So let's talk about just like growing up and playing basketball, and like where that led you to, and how we'll get into how you're getting back into basketball now. But
well, basketball is like, it's structured my life. It's helped me, as far as discipline and what it takes to really be successful at something that you are passionate about. Those are things that carry over into me being an artist and perfecting my craft in the music business. And you usually are drawn towards things that you're pretty good at and that you like, so it was never like work for me. You know, getting in the gym and, you know, really putting in the work. It's the same thing as I do, you know, when I go to the studio. I'm very passionate about it. And, you know, it draws me, man. Those are two things that I think, you know, in life that I fell in love with, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's I can relate 100% on you know, when you're doing things that you honestly just love, like the hard work that's the part that you love.
Yeah. I mean, you just embrace the time, you know, because you invest so much time. It's kind of like, you know, a kid or something, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
like my son, for instance, he's 4 now, and, you know, the more time you spend with him, the more time you take.
Too.
Yeah, he's a kid, you know
He's
firsthand.
awesome.
I mean, he's been in, you know, multiple studio sessions, and, you know, he bounces off the wall, but, you know.
Co-producer.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Asad Khaled, man. But
Shout out.
shout out. But yeah, man, it's just like, you know, it takes time. Everything that, you know, is of value takes time. So you gotta embrace it and be passionate through, you know, the hard times as well, because it does get, you know, tough sometimes, and just trying to sustain that focus and trying to, you know, lock in on still focusing on the goal at hand. You know, we're doing that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many parallels from, you know, anything sports related and relating it to anything else in your life. There's so many parallels from, you know, all the principles that it teaches you and stuff like that. Let's talk about like your time at Georgetown. Just, you know, tell us a little bit about, because I mean, you've told me this story before, and it's pretty fascinating. First of all, your decision to actually go to Georgetown, because you had other options, right?
Yeah. So coming out of high school, believe it or not, you know, I had some pretty big injuries that
In high school?
Yeah, in high school, that a lot of people weren't aware of. I was just, at the time, I was afraid of like the judgment and people saying, you know, he probably won't come back the same.
Like he's washed?
Yeah, pretty much. And so, you know, what I didn't want to do was create that narrative. The reason why is because, you know, I knew I would come back the next year personally and still be better than the majority, still be, you know, as good, and, you know, still try to dominate the sport of basketball. You know, and they do like national rankings and all that stuff. So it was bigger than, you know, just indie, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, recruiting and stuff like that was always fun. You know, it's pretty much like taking free trips for weekends and going to schools that, you know, eventually are going to pay for college and stuff like that. But, you know, the work was training, you know, 2-3 times a day to just stay healthy first, and then perfect my basketball craft. And then, you know, that kind of limited my opportunities to really step into being an artist.
Sure.
In music and stuff.
You had an ambition to be an artist before?
I mean, I always like was driven by music. I mean, I don't know too many athletes that don't listen to music before they play.
Facts, bro.
So for me, I've always been persuaded by, you know, music. Music can control your emotions a lot.
100%.
You know, in a positive way, in a bad way. You know, just different things. I always used it in a positive way, because usually, you know, whatever you're feeling at that time is what you'll listen to, and, you know, kind of go with the flow. But Georgetown was great, man. I love Georgetown. Was it my first option? Believe it or not, no. I love UCLA. I've always loved UCLA. I had other schools that, you know, recruited me for a little while. Kentucky, Kansas, Texas. I mean, all the, you know, big schools, you name it. The only school that didn't offer me was Butler. And the reason why I mention that is because I lived 2 minutes from Butler, which is like crazy that, you know, Brad Stevens was right there next to my home, and now he's the head coach of the Celtics. And
did he even come watch you play?
He did come watch me play, but that's all he did was come watch me play. Dang. He didn't say like, oh yeah, we want you to come, you know, blah blah blah. And, you know, he tells this story all the time where like, he's like, man, I just didn't think, you know, you were too highly touted at that time. And, you know, he's used to getting like the underdogs, basically.
So it was the other way around then.
Yeah.
He almost thought you just wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, which is crazy, man, because it's like, dude, I live up the street, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's huge.
And I love his coaching style and, you know, his ability to teach, but not like take away from the player. You know, which is a very unique trait. I think that's why he's had so much success. success in the NBA and, in college, of course, we know, his resume. So
yeah. So you had UCLA, all these schools. You talked about that being like, growing up, probably that was just like what the beach, or is it on a beach or is it in the city?
UCLA is not on the beach.
Gotcha.
It's in the city, but it's not like secluded. It's not, too much in the mix of everything. It's like, Hollywood area, which everybody loves. So I was definitely interested in that Hollywood, lifestyle, and I still am. I still love, LA. I love California, period. I love Indy though. Can't forget home.
For sure, bro.
Yeah.
So you chose Hoya over Hollywood.
Yeah. It was.
So talk about why.
It was more of a family decision at the time. My mom was huge on education and making sure that I graduated and all that stuff. But me at 16, at 15, I was like, dude, I'm going to the NBA. There's no it doesn't really matter where I go, but I want to go somewhere where I could be a focal point of the team and still, achieve my dream and, still become more knowledgeable and still, be educated as well. I thought UCLA provided that for sure. Georgetown, of course, is an elite institution, and I love DC. If I could pick up the city and the school and move it to Los Angeles, that's like the perfect scenario. The perfect scenario, because UCLA is a pretty big school. Georgetown is not. Georgetown is a private school, and it's like not even 10,000 people. But that's kind of like more of my speed, so I can like focus, but still, have a social life outside of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I played baseball at the University of Tampa for just the year I went there, and I think it's like, dude, Tampa, Florida. So the weather was perfect every single day. Baseball was awesome. I just went down there and walked on. Yeah. But school in and of itself just wasn't the option for me, or it just wasn't it wasn't going to take me where I wanted to go. Yeah. And I didn't even know where I wanted to go. Yeah. So that was kind of the big thing. For me personally, I just feel like if you're going to, take school seriously, you need to have an exact purpose and go to school with intent. But yeah, I mean, from the perspective of just a small private, is Georgetown private?
Georgetown is private.
Yeah, so a small private school, there's a huge sense of just community. Everyone, it's I mean, everyone lives on campus, so you have the ability to just create so many relationships and stuff like that. And that's if I didn't get anything out of school, it's just the building relationships and just being around your people. Yeah. I talk about that a lot with just my friends and stuff, is just finding your people and spend time with them. Because I mean, they're just gonna, it's birds of a same feather flock together, something like that. Yeah. I believe in that wholeheartedly. Yeah. And that was kind of my experience in school. But I want to talk about basketball at Georgetown. Yeah. So let's talk about basketball.
Yeah. Basketball was there was two sides of it. Okay. Basketball is the game itself is fun, especially if you love it and you work at it. It won't be fun if
I
you
love
don't.
Basketball.
Yeah, it won't be fun.
Basketball is my favorite sport.
Yeah,
I love basketball.
And you're always trying to play pickup.
Always trying to run.
Dude, these guys are good, man. These guys are good. The pro. He's like, I'm tired, man. After the first two games, you were so tired.
I know.
Bro. It was hilarious.
But
you held your own though.
Took one out.
Yeah, you held your own for sure. Georgetown was great. Were we as successful as I would have liked? No, but
well, I think let's talk about what that means for you.
Well, it means a lot.
I don't know personally how good you not how good you guys were, but I don't know. Did you guys make Final Fours?
No, we went to the tournament 2 of my 4 years there.
Gotcha.
Which to me was an underachievement considering we are established as a Power 5 conference. We are a team that is well known, a program that is well known, and a lot of the great players that have come through there have had opportunities and have advanced to Final Fours, and they've just done a lot. For me, I was successful individually,
sure,
but not as a collective, and that bothered me. The reason why it bothered me is because I've always been, I've had a philosophy of controlling or being able to impact wins and losses.
Yeah.
So when I'm not winning, I'm frustrated. When our team is not winning, I'm even more frustrated because I want other people to be successful too. The game teaches you, sacrifice, sure, and to also want to be the best, and with doing that, you have to help people and put them in situations to be successful. It's like a business.
Yeah.
So you try to, impact them as much as you can, and I felt like at times I didn't impact them as much as I would have liked.
Well, you're the point guard, right?
Yeah, point guard
so
combo.
The ball's in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. So, and not everybody, and I'm not saying everyone, but, not everybody loves the game maybe as much as you do sometimes, and they don't work as hard as you do sometimes.
Bro.
Which is like that I can't control. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like at that point, do I say like, all right, well, I need to get mine, you know what I'm saying? Which is a lot of people's characteristics, but I didn't take that approach. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like get super aggressive or like get more into like me, sure, or like my numbers and stuff.
Stick to the plan? Yeah,
stick to the plan. And usually, you kind of let things play out how they're supposed to. And, I thought we did okay. And then as far as, personal experience, I accomplished a lot.
Yeah,
at Georgetown.
Right?
Even at Georgetown. At Georgetown. First team, second team, All-American, all that stuff.
And that was dealing with injuries too, right?
Yeah, dealing with injuries. I came in as a freshman. I was injured my freshman year, torn meniscus, and then my senior year, after I declared my junior year to go to the draft,
right,
I decided to come back, and I literally tore my meniscus. It's like the next week.
Dang.
In a summer league game. So, it's just tough, man. Tough situations. That what's funny is like the timing of all this. So, coming in as a freshman at Georgetown, I missed the McDonald's game because I had an injury. Yeah, so like and that's a huge one. A huge one. Everyone knows that in the basketball world, if you're a McDonald's All-American, I mean you're pretty much stamped for two things: legacy and NBA, for sure. Like they keep tabs.
I think about Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
the first
exactly.
person that comes to mind.
Exactly. People who you are like, they're probably going to be in the NBA for sure. So, for me to miss that opportunity was a big blow to like me, and a lot of people in my family, and I was very disappointed. But we made the most of it, and I love Georgetown. I think I appreciate the school now more so than I did when I first got there. At first, I was like, dude, this is
You mean like
boring.
the education?
Yeah, the education.
Okay.
Yeah, the education. Yeah. When I first got there, I was like an outcast, bro. I'm like, all I did was play basketball. Didn't speak to anybody, didn't really go out. I'm like, dude, what am I, what am I doing? Like, and then eventually I was like, well, you got to start networking. You need to know somebody because these people are highly educated, great families. Parents are coming in town, these people, they want to meet you, they want to talk, blah, blah, blah.
Shake hands.
Yeah, all that stuff, man. So, we made the most of it.
For sure.
Great. Yeah.
So we're talking about how Georgetown really, that was like your first experience of networking. And, we know now, of course, like the power of networking and how important it is. But like you were saying, like a, 18-year-old kid out of high school or whatever, all you knew was basketball. All you probably cared about was basketball.
Yeah.
Now we have other things going on in our lives, and people are like the most important asset that we can have.
Yeah.
So talk about just like how being at Georgetown, and then what was the realization that you came to that you were like, all right, I probably should care a little bit more about just some basketball.
Just personal,
You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Well, I would never say like I should care about other things more than the game, because of what it's done for my life and structure. I think the game has opened up a lot of doors for certain things. As far as like use the music, for instance,
Yeah.
the fan base that we have gained and the fan base that we've always had, a lot of them
So
come
much
from,
support, bro.
yeah,
It's
a lot of
crazy.
them come from basketball. Recently we posted a, picture, saying that we're back in the game. And we kind of called it the return. And
Yeah.
as soon as I dropped it, it was like, I mean, so many people that I hadn't talked to for a little while, like, yes, finally,
Yeah.
They're
waiting for it.
Yeah, they were waiting for it. Now, if on a music, music tip, a lot of people don't, at first see it. I always thought I would be in the NBA, when I was in middle school and even in high school for sure. But this is kind of the same, scenario with music. Everyone starts off premature until they figure out what their sound is, what their niche is, and you run with it. For us, it's the same thing. People are going to catch on eventually and realize that we are, NBA
Caliber.
caliber
Type.
artists. You know what I'm saying? And
sure.
That's kind of the parallel that I've drawn as far as like making music and doing things that you're passionate about. Usually, and being in school also helped me realize too that if something is doesn't make you passionate or you're not passionate about it, you probably won't succeed at it, and you probably won't like make a conscious effort every day to try to do it. So for me, I realized with making music that it's something that I constantly wake up every day and I'm like, I need to figure out something.
Does it take you back to high school?
It definitely does.
You know what I'm saying?
It definitely does. It definitely gives you those high school vibes because, I mean, for one, you wake up with the energy. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, I can do this every day. I can keep doing it every day. If you think back, to high school, do you have any bad memories? Or you just like, damn, we used to do this in high school.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I used to do this all the time. Like, and that's how I feel, in creating musical content. A lot of the things that we've created, yes, some things aren't put out yet, but it's some of the best work that we have. So,
and a lot of it sucks too, right?
Yeah,
like I know for me personally, like
yeah.
I heard something the other day, and it was simple. It was you have to be bad before you can be a badass.
Exactly. And a lot of that takes time and discipline. If you were to stop creating today and came back in a month, you'll be back to square one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because things won't
You lose
they won't
momentum.
be fresh. Yeah, you won't have any momentum. And a lot of these things, like I said, they draw so many parallels for me, and it makes it so much easier because I understand like the discipline and not even necessarily just making music and putting it out there.
Nice. Yeah. Talk about the parallels, like you're saying, because in my head, I'm imagining, basketball. You wake up in the morning. You gotta hit the gym. You got practice in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You need to make sure your meals are on point, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So talk about like what basketball taught you. You say basketball, the game of basketball, you owe your life to because it taught you structure. It taught you discipline, all these things that are important. So talk about the parallels between that and what you're now experiencing with music as an artist.
I would say they're literally exactly the same. But, the one distinct difference is one allows you to control your time. The other one requires you to be at a certain place on time. You have to be here and do the weights, which every, team does at every school. We have weights at 6 or 7 in the morning. We got to run at a certain time in the morning. You got to, work out. We got practice at 4. Whereas like going to the studio is a choice. You can make a conscious effort to stay in the studio 5 hours, however long you want, and still, consume your body. The biggest thing for me, we mentioned injuries before.
Yeah.
That was something that I was like, this is a smarter way to consume my body, and also like
Consume your body. You mean like your energy and like using
mental, energy, like mental stability, stuff like that. Because that also plays a part like in it. I've had 4 major injuries, and it's like, that's big. Like, and a lot of people can't really fathom that because they've never hit that many walls in something that they've wanted to do.
Yeah, and from such a high level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you're up that high and you fall to the ground, it hurts more.
Exactly. And it's like, for me, that stuff takes an emotional toll on you. And so it was like, all right, well, how can we express and deliver this story in a way that people can understand, but not say, feel any pity? They just say, all right, well, yeah, let's just, support them this way and, help them keep moving forward. Let's help them, progress in this way rather than saying, all right, well, the only entertainment that he can, provide for us is basketball. Now it's music, and that's why I love the art in itself.
So in a way, you've kind of been a storyteller this whole time. Sounds like with basketball, you were always, there was a narrative about everything you did.
Yeah.
The way you, just the way you showed yourself, the way, your story and all the things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that you're an artist officially, you're just back to storytelling at another level. And I know, do you write a lot?
I do write a lot. I have a few books that, in the future I definitely want to allow people to get a hold of, hopefully publish them.
Yeah.
Right now, no, I'm like solely focused on music and, still playing basketball and, staying close to the game. But yeah, I write nonstop. Like I could pull up at a red light and, if something like hits me that I'm thinking about that I think would be like a creative topic or something that I feel like would sit with people, then,
or just a bar.
A bar, anything, man. I just kind of like, I'll either pull over and write it down or, if I got, 20 seconds, I might just put the keywords down and go from there.
Got you. Yeah, that just inspired a question that I have for you. So when you were playing basketball, did you like study the greats? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have quite a few players that I love. I think.
Now you love them or you're inspired by them?
That inspired and love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
The game inspired me. I love the game.
Sure.
So to me, they're kind of like, hand in hand. And Jalen Rose is one of my favorite players. Shaquille O'Neal, Bradley Beal is probably my favorite player of all time. And then LeBron. LeBron is, well, we know what LeBron is.
Yeah. Of course. He needs no introduction.
Yeah, no introduction.
That's
no
an interesting list, though.
Yeah.
That's how I know it's personal to you because, just from my experience, I would not, if you ask me, like, who are the greats, who do I love to watch, and stuff like that, my reasons are going to be completely different.
Right.
And it's who I like to watch people who are fun and, like, really show that they are just in control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're kind of talking about being not just a good player yourself, but, like, really raising up everyone who's around you. Those, to me, are, like, the leaders that I like to watch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so let's bring it back to music. Do you have any greats that you study?
Yeah. As far as music, there's different like generations that I follow. We just saw Nas last night live.
Oh, nice.
And he's he's all-time great. One of the best, lyricists I've ever heard.
For sure.
J. Cole, Meek Mill is probably my favorite today. Drake also is one of my favorite. I think my favorite all-time artist is Chris Brown for sure, though.
For sure.
I love Chris Brown. And this is aside from, like, his personal life, which, I feel like people, don't give him the credit that he deserves for
from an artist standpoint.
Yeah, from an artist standpoint.
He's incredible.
Yeah, just because, like, of personal, things that have gone on with him.
Sure.
Some things just, sit with you for the rest of your career and people won't forget it. And, I'm not saying that, forgiveness is what should be the case, because, some things are wrong, but at the same time, I do respect him as a person and I respect his craft, and he's the greatest to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long have you been, how long is, like, think back to, when you were younger and, like, who was, like, the first, when you first started, like, getting into music, especially, hip hop, rap music, like, who were you listening to,
I mean, at that time, like, I was starting to get into, like, girls and stuff in middle school. So I'm like, you know, I used to listen to, like, LL Cool J and, like, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, he has a lot of, like, hard, you know, tough songs, like I'm Bad and, you know, Mama Said Knock You Out, like, stuff like that, which is, like, mainstream stuff. But I like a lot of his, like, R&B, like, mainstream songs. He had a song with J-Lo called All I Have that was, like, my favorite song for a long time. And, you know, that was one of those songs that, like, persuaded my emotion with, like, girls. So, of course, I was, like, super, like, damn, I want a girlfriend. I want to be blah, blah, blah. Like, but, you know, you listen to different stuff. And then, like, a lot of, like, hard trap rap came in, like, when I was, like, going and like transitioning to high school. Yeah, T.I., Jeezy, Gucci Mane. You know, and I love that whole wave. I think that was kind of like Atlanta. It was, like, for sure, like, you know, certified at that point. And then you had, like, you know, Lil Bow Wow and, you know, people like that growing up who influenced the kids or the younger generation. So, you know, I mean, I'm a fan of, like, everybody just because they're different. You know, they're different. I remember Soulja Boy had, like, a crazy wave for, like, for years, man, for years. Ooh. And, yeah, and people still do this dance, and they still love this dance till this day. And for somebody like that, you know, to me, and, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was, like, the first one who created, like, the YouTube wave.
Yeah,
of,
I think
like,
it was MySpace.
Yeah, of, like, viral dances and, like, the videos and stuff. And, you know, his concepts were really creative. I think, you know, he is also a person who doesn't get a lot of credit just because he's kind of, like, he does some
out there.
Yeah, he's out there.
Honestly.
Yeah, he does some silly stuff sometimes. And, you know, in no way, shape, or form am I comparing him to Chris Brown. But I am saying that he's, you know, he legitimized himself, you know, with creating the dance waves and all that stuff. And
I mean, that's a huge wave now.
Yeah.
You got people hitting all different types. Like the Whoa. That all started back with Soulja Boy, you know? And now every song, it's like, you can make a hit song if you can put a dance to it.
Yeah, exactly. And now people are doing it, but they'll, like, say that they created it or they invented it. And
the wave.
Yeah, and it doesn't work like that. Everybody gets concepts or ideas from somebody before them. And for me, I think I get a lot of my concepts and a lot of my thoughts from, like, Drake. If I had to describe myself as an artist, you know, we talked about this, and, you know, versatility is key. The range, you know, and the more you can stretch out and, you know, create that range for yourself, I think you get a little bit more opportunity, and I think you can succeed at the game. Of course, everyone has their, like, strong suits. Drake obviously is a phenomenal, you know, rapper, but he can sing also.
Yeah, I can remember back just when I first started listening to Drake. He was called Soft.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, he's soft.
And now he's, like, I mean, he's head and shoulders above, you know, the game right now.
He is the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I mean, you just got to give credit where credit is due, you know. Sure. You can never discredit somebody for being who they are. You know, he's polished, you know, his team, everyone.
That's what it is.
You know,
bro.
from a very strategic point, they have done a great job in, you know, making sure that he's hitting at the right time. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing the things that, you know, everyone's like, damn, that was great timing. Damn, that was a great visuals. Oh, damn, his pictures are blah, blah, blah. Like, social media matters. And, you know, once it gets to a point where it's, like, effortless, it's just like, damn. You know, because that's how he makes it look. But, you know, it's a lot of work that goes into it for sure. For sure. I can guarantee that he's not getting too much rest. But he definitely, you know, is one of the greatest for sure.
For sure. I heard something pretty powerful the other day. I was talking about, it was in the realm of entrepreneurship and talking about balance in life. And most people think balance is like, you know, throughout your week, like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm doing everything in a week that I need to get taken care of, and I'm resting, and I'm doing all these things that are, you know, supposedly important. But this person's perspective was balance is over the course of your life. And he was basically saying that, you know, once you hit your 20s and you're like able to really just think for yourself and do things on your own.
Yeah.
Those first 20 years, that's when you're just grinding, bro. Like if you truly want to be successful, if you truly want out of life what you think is possible, those first 20 years is grinding. Like there's no such thing as balance.
Yeah.
And then after that, you've grinded all this time. You've like earned that like relaxation if you choose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that latter half of your life.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people create like a narrative that you're supposed to have certain things by a certain time, and it's just not.
Especially on with social media and
stuff.
Like you see 15-year-old kids who are doing millions of dollars on Shopify websites and stuff.
It's just
everyone
not.
Thinks they're supposed to be at
it's
that
not.
level.
It's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like to say like, by the time you're 25 and by the time I'm 25, we should be at the same playing field. It's just not. It's not realistic.
It's irresponsible.
People
listening need to know that it's just like not the case.
Yeah, it's just not the case. I mean that for me, when I graduated and I played for a little bit, and then when I decided not to, I still was at a crossroad and lost. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, well, we got options, but like, you consumed yourself with basketball. You thought at 25 that you're going to be playing basketball. And then I'm like, now we got to figure some shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really got to sit down and like map out the next move. Where is that going in 5 years? Where is it going in 2 years? What are you trying to accomplish, and what are you trying to like push as the narrative moving forward? Because people will always glue you to basketball. It's what you've done. It's who you are. It's a part of you. All that stuff. But you gotta, rewrite this narrative. You know what I'm saying? And we're trying to do that now with, the art that we're in.
100%. That's dropping bombs.
Man, trying to, man. I think, I just want the next 22-year-old that graduates from college to not come to the crossroad and not be able to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know cannot be the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't want to get there and be like, I don't know. You want to be like real, precise on plan A, plan B, plan C. And those are things that, my parents tried to tell me all that time, and I still was like, what are you talking about? NBA.
For sure. That's because life's funny like that.
Yeah, man. You learn.
And it's one day it all clicks, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, they were making sense. But it's like you still had to live to figure that stuff out for yourself.
Exactly. And you fall hard. You're hard-headed. I was very hard-headed. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to see the benefit of certain things. Sometimes it takes less time. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah, we all learn at some point, whether it's the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's on us.
Exactly.
So we talk about learning lessons the hard way, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you didn't learn your lesson with basketball.
I learned a lot of lessons, man. I fell hard a lot.
But he's
like
back.
I've been knocked on my ass quite a bit. But it comes with it. It's like, you gotta expect some type of failure at some point. And, the way you take it can't be failure. It can be lesson. It could be, what do I do different? But it can't be failure. It can't be, I did not succeed, so I'm not going to try again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now, like I said, that was kind of the whole point of me not allowing people to create or write a narrative for me after, dealing with certain situations. And, some people will look at it and be like, well, he had injuries in basketball. Like, what? Like, how important is that? How big is that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for them, it may not be big because they didn't have that dream. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people, when you tell them about your dreams, do they really like? Bro,
most people don't dream.
Yeah,
they don't even dream at all. Or that's all they do is dream.
And they don't. They're
not.
Goals. They're not like gung ho about your dreams.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody
they're not
is.
gonna get up and be like, yeah, here, what do you need me to do
right
this second? They're not gonna do that. What they're gonna do is say, oh yeah, that's nice, and sit back and watch you pursue that. And once they see you get closer, and then get closer and get closer, and then they'll be like,
I've been
Oh
here.
yeah, I was there. I remember you saying such and such. I remember you bought. Yeah, I told you because at that time I thought you might want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Is that
saying?
just life?
It's
You know what I'm
life.
saying?
Yeah, it's definitely, a part of life. Like, yeah, you can't take everyone. Like, that's
Sure.
not the point. You can't take everyone. But how many people do you share your dream with? Not everyone. You share them with people usually that you're really close
Protected.
to. Yeah, that you feel like your dream is safe, and someone who's gonna allow you to pursue that and say like, yeah, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep
Support.
doing it. Yeah, support.
And also, I find it very important to have people who will also pour into you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you have to. You have to. I think, investment is just as important. Investment and support to me, go hand in hand.
Sure.
It could be, just social media. It could be financial. It could be whatever. There's different circumstances for different people. Some people don't need financial support.
Sure.
Some people, that's all they need is a little bit of money to generate what they need. But of course, it's like it's an investment, and then someone has to believe that your dream is something that they can invest in and that can manifest. If they don't think it can manifest, I don't think they'll, take you as serious. And that's why you can tell and you can divvy up those people who are like, oh yeah, I support you, but like never want to post anything, never want to come, to a show, or never want to come to a game.
At first, they're
yeah,
waiting,
at first,
like you're saying.
yeah, they're waiting to see how good you're really gonna be. That's all that is. I mean, that's like, it's like, being a middle school kid who's like, oh, everyone's like, yo, that kid's got potential to be really good. Or in high school, oh, that kid has the potential to blah, blah. And then they'll say, all right, well, they're still going to sit back and wait and see. They're not going to say like, all right, you want to work out? You want to get in the gym? Can I take you to the gym? Can I take you to, go do this stuff? Work, whatever it is that you're trying to do, how do you help them grow into being who they actually want to be? So, it's a tough situation, man, but you make a lot of friends that way, and you also lose a lot of friends. Like some of my best friends are people that I met later in life. The reason why I think that is because they're not judging where, like, the circumstance. There's people who come from the same circumstance that you come from, and because you figured it out, they're offended, or they feel that like they deserve what you deserve,
like maybe
and
you
what
got
you
lucky.
earned. Yeah, pretty much. And they're like, oh well, he did this and he had this and blah blah blah. If I did this, or if I had this, whatever outlet or
further.
I would have did this.
All-star.
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
chill out, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. Like,
Quit capping.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It's just not realistic. Because would you think the same if you were in that position? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that all the time. I'm like, do I really, like, $1 million right now? Would I really, like, invest that in myself? You know what I'm saying? Compared to when I was 18. When I was 18, if I had $1 million, dude, like, we have, our talks and, things that, we would do or want to get into,
You're
what I'm
blessed
saying?
to have gotten $1 million.
Blessed, man, blessed. But, that type of money is going to come because we're going to work for it.
Sure.
That type of, revenue and situation, for my family is going to come. The reason why is because that's the motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That is what drives me. My son, my family, our team.
Yeah.
Those are things that we're all moving in the same direction, which is a great thing. And you're much better with the pack instead of hunting individually.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the narrative now? We got basketball back into the picture. Just talk about that a little bit, and then, kind of let's tie everything together. Now that we're back into the game, but we're not changing our vision.
Our vision, yeah, no. So basketball is, it stuck with me for so long. I was out of the game for a couple of years, and I felt like I lost a lot of my drive, a lot of my passion for
life or for the game.
Both.
Okay.
Both. In life, you just, like I said, I was at that crossroad and I had the I don't know answer. And it was not a good answer to have, just because you're like, most people are like, dude, you graduated from Georgetown, you could pretty much have any job that you want, right? Gotcha. And that sounds great, but you have to remember, my life was consumed with basketball, and is that by choice? If I wasn't any good, I probably wouldn't have invested so much time, right?
Right.
So if I'm a walk-on or a red shirt or somebody that doesn't play pretty much, the whole game, I would come back home and do my homework.
Right.
I would come back home and, make time for things that like other people make,
Start thinking about
other stuff.
school
yeah.
and a job and stuff like that.
And there's people that go with that intention. That's great. Don't get me wrong, I don't judge them, and hopefully, people don't look at me and say like, oh, well, he's did this and he does this, blah blah blah. No, I'm not, ignorant or stupid. It's just, you have something that you're very passionate about, which most kids do.
Yeah.
You have to experience in your 20s or whatever, the numbers that you gave earlier, it's like, it's about experience, it's about learning, it's about transition, it's about mental stability in those situations and those opportunities. Like going to Georgetown, like I said, at first I felt like an outcast. That wasn't just like from a social standpoint. It was more so like I'm consumed with my dream and this over here, and you're focused on this. Like we're just
like
in
we
two
don't
different.
speak the
We don't
same
even speak
language.
the same language, And a lot of people, that's why I feel like they didn't treat me different in a bad way, but they treated me different just because
Right.
they're like, oh well, yeah, I'm gonna go work on Wall Street. After I'm done with my intern.
That was their MBA.
Right. And then, they there's two lifestyles that you can live in college. One is setting up like immediate 6-figure, jobs.
For
stuff
sure.
like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, if you go to college for 4 years, you take it seriously.
Yeah,
And you do
yeah.
the things. You
And
shake
you
the right hands.
right.
You,
And
you
those
go
are
to the meetings.
yeah.
You're coming out making
yeah,
6 figures.
Yeah. And those are things that like, I noticed afterward, and I'm like, I never studied abroad. I never had an internship. I never had a company that I could work for and say like, as soon as I graduate, I'll be worth $100,000. I can
Right.
make $100,000 in a year.
Because you were thinking, I'm going to be worth millions.
Right.
I'm going to the league.
Exactly.
That was your job.
Exactly. And, you use your skills. My skill at that time was basketball. Like, it would not be smart of me on both sides because, part of me is very intelligent and the other part was like, dude, you got to, like, don't forget, you need this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the part that was very, clueless was I should have tried to do an internship or tried to, set myself up and say like, all right, well, what if I just like stop playing basketball today? What would we have? What's our scenario?
Gotcha.
Right? And so,
Do you think you would have been better off now, looking back, if you would have done something like that?
would I be making music? Probably not.
Gotcha.
Right? So, if I'm working in Wall Street or whatever, I'd be making so much money. Why would I make music?
Yeah.
Why would I invest? Why would I take my time?
It's not even the money. It's
Well,
like you'd be working on Wall Street.
You'd be working. Yeah, you'd be working. I mean, yeah, and I'm not saying like, I'm saying that like the scenario.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you get to a point where you're working so much and you're making money that like a lot of people don't feel the same hunger about certain things. There's people who play basketball solely to just make money. That's why they're not as good. Kobe Bryant, I was watching an interview with Kobe Bryant and he's like, yeah, when I got to the NBA, I'm thinking like all these guys are so good and blah, blah, blah. And then when they get paid, they're not as good anymore. Why? Because they already got what they came for.
Yeah. I heard the number one thing to keep you from being great is being good.
It's being good. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm really good. I'm, doing all this stuff, making whatever. And then I'm just like, all right, well, this is good. This is good enough.
Forgot what you needed to do to get there or what you didn't have that you were hungry for.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is good enough, And whenever it's good enough, you're losing. You're losing. That's just what it is. Like, some people won't take it as losing because they're like, oh, well, I have $750,000 and I'm making this and I'm doing this. I had a good friend who, was in the NBA and he's from Indy, but he got very content when he got his, first contract. And then, mind you, this is a rookie contract. This isn't, worth the big numbers that they throw around.
Deal.
Yeah, these are not numbers that they throw around with the big time guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
but for a kid from Indy, I mean, it's still a check.
It's a check. It's definitely a check, and I think you can never lose that hunger, man, regardless of what you're doing, And for me, I have that hunger. You know what I'm saying? Like
for life, for music,
life,
for basketball,
music. Well, really, music now.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
For me, it's music now. The reason why is because, I know that I can do really well just because of the way that I can tell my story.
Yeah.
You sat in on pretty much every session, that I've been in, and I just think we are able to rewrite that narrative that we were talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, we're getting close to time here, so
yeah.
let's just talk about what can we expect from you coming forward the next couple months to a year.
Yeah. So I got a few projects that I'm working on now. Couple videos that we're gonna shoot. I'm actually shooting one this weekend. To the Pregame EP that we dropped,
Yep.
Not too long ago, about a month or so ago. And yeah, man, I'm excited. A lot of the new works that we got, coming up. And yeah, man, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be energetic. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of different, things, a lot of different connections and stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, it's so like nurturing.
Yeah.
Because it's like you feel great, and then it's something that could make your day the worst day ever, but you go to the studio and turn it into magic. And then what I'm saying, it's just
we literally experienced that at the studio.
Yeah, and it's like
it was just some news, bro.
Man, and it's crazy. Rest in peace to my boy Cliff. The day that I found out about it, we had spoke on the phone, and you and I had talked, and I'm like, once he gets this, song and, does his feature, blah, 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 like, this is going to be crazy. And then we was talking about going to Miami to shoot the video.
Yep. DC, right?
DC. DC, going back to DC. And then, we were going to shoot the video and all that stuff. And, but that one really hit home. That's why I think this first project was, like, really big to me, and it'll mean a lot more to me than anybody else for sure. Just because of the situation and scenario, and that was someone who was my brother, you know what I'm saying? And for that to be the case, and when I'm dropping my first project, you know what I'm saying, and he's not here to like say I'm proud of you, or you know what I'm saying, which I know he is, you know what I'm saying, like, and I want to carry that all the way through, because I feel like now I'm just representing what he wanted to do as far as stepping into the music business.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. It's probably a good place to wrap this up. Leaving with something to think
man
about.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for coming out, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. We're gonna just keep creating magic, man, and hopefully we can get Indy to follow up with us, man, and just keep creating, man, keep getting better. Again, go download, go stream Pregame, DSR. It's hot, man, and then we got some more stuff in the works. And if you don't follow me on social media, at DSR 43, number 4, number 3, produced by B-Roll Beats, man.
Let's go.